The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation.
Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening to or watching live, and I hear the fur baby in the background. We love it. We love it. We love seeing the fur babies and hearing them. This is you're listening to UFO Paranormal Unit Public Radio Network. You can listen to us in the U.S. on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast in Mississippi, 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and my name is Lorilei Potvin, and this is the Angel Rock. A little bit about myself. I'm a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, also registered nurse. I'm well-versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler myself, and I've studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. I'm a budding animal communicator, and lastly, well-versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for it. It found us. And you can see a little bit of our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor Season 4, Episode 9, called Demonic Hauntings. Also, I'd like to thank Carnation. They sponsor all the live shows here on Mondays on UPRN. We call it Carnation Mondays, and Carnation is a global brand. So if you're out doing some shopping, maybe getting ready for the holidays or just your regular shopping, if you see a Carnation brand out there, please consider sorry, my cord here is jiggling all over, and every time it does, my computer screen goes black and it distracts me. Sorry, guys. So if you're out shopping and you see a Carnation brand, please consider picking it up, because they bring all the great programming here on the network, and we really, really do appreciate their sponsorship. What else do I want to tell you guys? If you want to watch us on TV, you can. We have a channel on Roku, so you can go to the channel store. You're going to type in the search bar UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop-down list, and you're looking probably for the third or fourth one down, and it's called UFO, and there's a space paranormal and United Public Radio, and that's how you can watch us on TV. Okay, what else do I want to tell you? I'm just going right through this super quick. Also, I have a second show on the network on Thursdays with my very dear friend, Carolann Iadarola, who also has her own show here on the network on Fridays called Spirit Switchboard, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please tune in this Thursday at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Carolann and I. We're covering a whole bunch of spooky Christmas type shows. And I also want to add, I was telling Carolann, I know you recognize her if you're watching because she's on our network too. I'm going to introduce her in just a sec. Friday night, or sorry, not Friday night, Christmas night, we're going to be broadcasting live with Beneath the Hollow Moon. And we are looking for right now, you do not have to come on camera if you would like to, or you just want to submit. We are having what we're calling the Holiday Haunted Hotline. So we are looking for stories of the spooky and the unusual. If they're holiday centered, great, but anything kind of weird and unusual. It's only about a 5-minute spot if you do decide to come on the camera. And we do have some special guests also coming on. They're a surprise, but we will have them as well, popping in and popping out. So it was Carolann's idea, and I thought it was a beautiful idea. As many of you know, my son passed away January 15th this past year, 2025, Justin, and he had severe autism and only like 6 foods, but his absolute favorite was chicken nuggets and fries. So we are doing chicken nuggets and fries that night, 7 p.m. that night, Christmas night. We're getting in our jammies, and we would love for you to join us in that way. So the way you can get a hold of us, we're also looking for stories. We always try to share a spooky story. It doesn't have to be related to the topic we're covering on Thursday nights on Beneath the Hollow Moon. You can send them to Carolann or myself on any social media platform, or Carolann also has a Gmail that you can send them to. It's carolannsporch@gmail.com, and we'd really appreciate that. I think I remembered everything. I think I did. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. We do broadcast every country in the world here on this network. And I always say, if you can't see us, you can't join in the conversation, and we'd love to have you join in. So there's many different platforms you can go to under YouTube, under UFO Paranormal United Public Radio Network. We're on Facebook under my profile. My guest, Carolann Iadarola, she's going to tell you a little bit more about her things once I read her bio. We're broadcasting on her X channel, her YouTube. We are on the Angel Rock on Instagram. So yeah, if you want to join the conversation, that's how you can do it. So speaking of Carolann, we've been looking forward to this. I'm going to read your bio here. It's a great bio. So after a lifetime exploring high strangeness and living life as an empath, she embarked on a new journey with Ethereal Encounters Unveiled to share opinions, experiences, and powerful insights from authors, ufologists, psychics, and in the high strangeness genre who have stepped inside unknown universes. Her show, Ethereal Encounters Unveiled, features an eclectic mix of guests with unique perspectives and experiences from the paranormal world. Her goal is to have you embark on a journey that will leave you spellbound, enlightened, and even further transformed. Ethereal Encounters Unveiled is your gateway to the unseen and the mystical. Dive into the world of the paranormal, supernatural, and inexplicable. And whether you're a skeptic or a believer or simply curious, travel with her beyond the veil to discover the mysteries that lie beyond our grasp. Carolann's also an author and owns Sassy Townhouse Living, a lifestyle website dedicated to sharing innovative ideas and resources in home decor, food, beauty, and overall living. Carolann also holds a master's degree in education and instructional technologies and instructional design from East Stroudsburg University of Pennsylvania. Can't talk tonight, sorry. And worked as a manager of training in corporate America. And she also does her show, I believe. I know Carrie Lynn and I are joining you next Friday, which we can talk more about. But you also do your Thursday night right before us on Thursdays, 5 to 7 p.m., Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. And I think you also do a show on Wednesday. So welcome. So she's on UPRN. She's one of our hosts. So welcome, Carolann.
Thank you so much.
That was a mouthful. That was a mouthful. Let's say hi to everybody. I always like to, just before we get going here. So just give me a second. Start up at the top. We saw you there, Heidi. You popped in. We saw you, Heidi. Go. Yeah, thanks for being here. And she's way on the West Coast there in God, my brain is not working, Colorado. Sorry, I've had the worst squirrel brain for the past week and a half. I don't know what it is. And then we got Seasun Dragon, or I like to call him by his muggle name. Kevin's here. I'm seeing you're saying, oh, I know who Heidi's saying hi to. How could I seeing Oliver? And I'm going, Oliver. I know who Oliver is. That's your fur baby.
A little dog with a big mouth, right, Heidi?
No, when I was on your show, I remember he was barking, and you asked me, and we didn't plan it. You just asked me to tell you some things from Oliver.
Yes.
Because I kept going, Oliver. And all of a sudden it hit me, Oliver. Got Kirby's 100. Hi, welcome. Let's see. Thank you, Heidi. She said not budding. Well, it is budding, animal communication. It's never the same every time you do it, let me tell you. We got Patsy Foister here saying hi, Lorilei and Carolann. And Patsy, I saw your post, so I send you big hugs, much love, and some healing energy, and I'll leave it at that. And like Heidi said, Carnation Mondays. Let's see. We've got Tina Luma Soul. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here. She's saying hi to both of us. Let's see. Got Lisa Martinello. Hi. She said, good evening, everyone. Michelle Wilfong says, hello at chat. Michelle, we're not back on TikTok. That's why we were a few minutes late. I was telling Carolann about it before. Michelle is my mod over on TikTok when we are on there. I believe it'll probably be Monday next week. They always like to ban me for 4 or 5 days after I go live because I have to use another program rather than TikTok Live to work with our StreamYard streaming software. So, but when she is over there, she's an incredible mod, and she lives in a very haunted apartment Department, which she shares under the same name on TikTok. So please check that out and support her, because she supports us over here. Well, all you guys do, but I really appreciate when because she does a great job as a mod. Let's see, everybody saying hi to one another. Oh, we got Mort Ali here. Hi, Mort. Let's see. We got Mish here. I love to tease Mish because I love her dear. Well, I love you all dearly, but Mish always says she's joining us from the future because it's Tuesday morning over there in Australia. So she's saying hi to both of us. Hang on. And scrolling. Oh, we got Sean Ellis here. Hey, Sean. Welcome. Sean is from Eternal X Wolf Pack Paranormal. He was on the show about a month ago here on the Angel Rock. So welcome. Thanks for being here. Got Contessa Martins here saying hello. Let's see. We're scrolling. I don't want to miss anybody. I love that you guys all say hi to one. Everybody's saying hi to Oliver too. Heidi says, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It's so cute.
I know. Well, Heidi says, I'm multitasking with Audrey, decorating her little tree. Well, big hugs and much love to Audrey. We always like to say hi to Audrey. That's Heidi's beautiful granddaughter. So I like to say that. I think we got through this. Just check on Instagram. No, we're okay. Instagram always streams behind for some reason. It's still on the intro. I don't know why. So we were talking, and we were talking about a multitude of topics. But as I had said in the intro, I'm going to be joining you on it's still Ethereal Encounters Unveiled on Fridays, isn't it?
Oh,
or what's the name? Yes, I thought. So I'm going to be joining, the 19th actually. And so is Carrie Lynn, because we talked about what should we talk about, and off camera you and I are interested in many of the same topics, and I had sent something, I posted it by Jim Brewer, and it's a series he started on YouTube called, and if people don't know who Jim Brewer he is a really funny guy, a comedian. He's been on SNL or Saturday Night Live. I mean, it's kind of sad that all he was ever known for was Goat Boy, because that's all I knew him for back when I was watching SNL back in the day. And he's such a funny guy, isn't he?
Oh, he's hysterical.
Well, he started this series called Funny How God Works. And you guys, if you haven't checked it out, I think his YouTube channel is called the Jim Brewer Verse. I think it's the way it's called.
Yeah.
And he has, if you go on the playlist, it's season 1 called Funny How God Works. And his stories are mind blowing. Oh, hi, Benno from Oz. Didn't even see you there. So he says, Carolann is great. I watch her stuff. Well, that's good to hear. We love it.
Thank you, Benno.
Yeah, and you said you had watched that as well. And oh boy, that really, really, it really touched me with a lot of things he said there. What did you think?
Yeah, I think the one I remember most is about his brother, that he became famous the day his brother passed.
I actually rewatched all of them. I just finished watching them about 10 minutes before I came on to refresh my memory with it. But yeah, and for people maybe that don't know what it's about, is he's gone back through his life through momentous events that he's had, and he ends the episode usually with Funny How God Works. And with his brother was from, I guess his mother had his brother, I think was the love of her life. I remember his name was Lefty, and Lefty went away to the war, came back, and felt really badly that his comrades were still in the war, and went back, and 6 weeks before it ended, he lost his life over, I'm guessing it was in Vietnam. I don't know. I don't know if it was World War II or not. I'm not sure. I would think probably Vietnam. What do you think?
Yeah, that I think it was Vietnam as well.
And so here his mom was with this little boy to raise. She was pregnant when he left. And so that was Jim's oldest brother, I guess. He's from a pretty big family. I think he was the youngest, and he kept, he was really struggling, wasn't he, to get his comedy act going? It sounds like from the way he told the story.
Yeah. I think he also had a manager that ripped him off too, if I remember correctly.
That, yeah,
Yeah.
and I actually read in the comments because I was trying to figure out what comedian is he talking about, and as soon as I read the comment, I went, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, he has one of the videos on there is I lost $30 million was stolen from me by my manager. And
Right.
you know what was so beautiful about that story was his wife, I guess, as he puts it, found Jesus. And his wife has been sick for a long time. She's had breast cancer and she's, been a survivor. But he mentions many times in these videos that his wife found Jesus. So
Yeah.
it was just so iconic because he was ready to just, and who wouldn't be? He came up with this phenomenal idea, had this manager that he ended up firing after he told him about the idea, and the guy took it and
Yeah.
stole his
Stole it.
idea. Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's so tragic, and it's not the first time I've heard that type of story. There's been so many artists, like Billy Joel too, had a manager that stole millions and millions. I don't know, like, where are people's morals and values to do? It's like I just can't grasp when I hear something, and then to steal an idea, it seems even worse, and just
Yeah, but that was the line that where I was going with, was starting to say, was his wife at that time, like he was out for blood and revenge, as most people would be. He said, I'm struggling, barely pay the rent. I've got, little kids, and this guy's basically taking the money out of my family's mouths and a roof over our head. And his wife apparently turned to him and said, Jim, God has you exactly where he wants you. And he said years later, he had to go to Los Angeles. He said no disrespect to anybody in LA, but he said he hates going there. And he found this little taco shop to go eat. And lo and behold, the comedian that apparently, with Jim's idea, soared really high and crashed really low. So did the manager that did this to him. He was there and saw Jim and said to him, that was a really cool thing you did, because he also talks about when his dad passed away and he was there. Jim, he's talking about, he goes, I didn't get that. And he said in that moment when he heard those words, how healing, it just healed everything for him. And it really became really clear to him what his wife was talking about, that God has you exactly where he wants you, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just want everybody to know I'm reading the comments. I always do. And Michelle,
Me too.
it's scary to trust people.
Yeah.
She had made yeah.
She's asking, so sorry, who are we talking about? So, Mish, you may not know who he is, but you might want to look him up. He's pretty funny. His name is Jim Breuer, Breuer. He's got a YouTube channel. He does a lot of truth seeking on there as well. We'll leave it at that without getting into, well, I don't know where we'll go with our conversation tonight, but if you go under his tab on playlists and just let it play, they're not long videos. They're only maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. And he talks about all the times in his life when he looks back. Like one of the videos he has is he went to Las Vegas with his wife. This is after he got famous. He said we were in this really huge, amazing hotel, but he was writing a book kind of about talking about some of these experiences that he's now sharing in this little podcast he started. And he says he took the book, and while his wife was getting ready, for some reason held it up to the window and challenged the devil. I guess, like, I'm going to be writing this book and it's going to go everywhere and it's going to be bad business for you. So I dare you to try and do something with this book. Did you see that one?
I know I saw a short. I don't know if it's the same one, where he said he wrote so hard that he had like dents in his fingers.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah.
So what happened was they were getting ready to go to the event that he was there for, and he kept thinking, where am I going to put this? Should I put this in the safe? And he's thinking first in his drawer by the bed, and he's going, I've been staying in hotel rooms for 30 years. Nobody's ever broken. nobody's going to touch this book. So I think he left it on the windowsill. And then when they got back a couple hours later, he still had the urge to sit down and write more. And he opens up the notebook, and all his pages, there's no writing. There's nothing in there.
That blew my mind. That blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. So he's looking everywhere, and his wife is saying, "Oh, Jim, maybe you were tired, you ripped everything." He goes, "There's no way I would have wrote this all out." So he's running around frantically tearing the hotel room apart. Happens to go out into the hallway and sees the maid, and he asks her about the book. This is just mind blowing to me, and I believe him. I think he's telling the truth. He said, "Oh, sir, she didn't even have an answer, but she went in the notebook and ripped all the pages out and threw them in the garbage." What are the chances of that happening? And he said,
weird.
Yeah, he said he had to go through the garbage to try and find everything, and he didn't. But he was kind of getting into the way, funny how God works, and he. I won't ruin it for the story for you guys, but what are the chances of being in quote unquote Sin City, Las Vegas, and you secretly challenge the devil? And you're out for 2 hours and you come back, because he said he called down to the manager and at the hotel, and the manager said, "Oh, she's been with us for years. No, she wouldn't have done something like he." And Jim's going, "She just admitted that she did it." So he was talking about like what happened. Like he said, these are his words. He said she was very almost dead looking in the eyes when he first ran into her. Like he wondered if he's feeling something dark about her. So he was asking himself, like, did the devil work through her or
it
what?
did. It did work through her. It probably possessed her for that moment, or compelled her and made her do something that she normally wouldn't have done. Because when I heard that story, I really, I immediately thought that the devil got a hold of her. It's the logical reason.
I'm gonna go to this comment here, Benno. I can't watch any Will Smith movies after we found out what he really was like as a person. It's a shame because he made some good sci-fi movies. I still can't watch 7 Pounds without sobbing like a baby.
Yeah. He's an excellent actor. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
You know who I won't watch anymore? Like, and I have a lot of merch and stuff, and because Deadpool is quote unquote Canadian, right? Comic book character. I've got a lot of that. I won't watch one thing about Ryan Reynolds now that I know what I know about what they've done. If you guys haven't, oh, sorry, my phone just went off here. That what him and his wife, Blake Lively, have done to Justin Baldoni. Nope, I won't watch them. So I'm with you. I want to burn all my Deadpool things because I won't wear them. I'm not supporting them. I'm not supporting that.
And it's good that we take a stand like that. We have to. Another thing that Jim Brewer did that I found so commendable was he started taking videos of chemtrails. And I know it's not spooky or woo-woo, but he was showing the skies and just how toxic they were. I think he lives in Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
He does now.
Yeah.
I have pictures. Actually, I caught something really weird in the skies. Hold that thought for 1 sec there, because we're going to say how we got a few people popping in here. So we got Carrie Fast is here saying hello, friends. Julie Jean Bassett says finally made it. Glad to have you here. You guys know I always shout Julie Jean Bassett out. She's an incredible animal communicator. She's one of my mentors. She just had
She's great. I had her on my show too.
Yeah, she just had a beginner animal communication course past weekend. She runs it every couple months, I believe. I've taken her animal chakra course. I was so excited when there was a vet there. I thought how progressive that we're seeing that. She's helped me with many of my animals, Carrie Lynn's, many of the people in the chat. So if your pet is doing something crazy and you've got no way to get through to them and you're wondering what the heck is going on, Julie is your lady, including as a pet medium, and she's also an incredible shamanic practitioner. So you guys can get a hold of her 2 ways, juliejeanbassett.com for the animal things and whitetailshamanichealing.com for the shamanic practitioner type things. So we've got Richard, is it Minnick? Sorry, I haven't got my glasses on. Welcome, says many in Hollywood are not nice people. Yeah, well, I don't know how much we can say, but just look at the name. You just look up the name Hollywood, where it comes from. And
Absolutely. Did you ever hear about the story that oh my goodness, I talk about brain farts, right? Mel Gibson, he told about his meeting that he had with Christopher Walken. Did you guys ever hear about that?
I don't know
That
if I did. I've heard many things from Mel Gibson, but please share. I haven't heard that one.
Oh
So
my goodness. And I've listened to this like several times because it blew my mind. He had a meeting with him, I guess, before um, he really blew up in terms of fame. And he was looking to work on a project with him. And he said
Mhm.
he walked through a crowd of people, but he didn't walk. Mel Gibson said he floated in. He actually floated.
Christopher
That
Walken
Christopher
voted in.
Walken
Oh, I believe
floated
it.
in above
Mhm.
the ground.
Yeah.
And Mel Gibson had his assistant with him, and the two of them were like, we got to get out of here. Like they knew immediately that something sketch was going on. And through the conversation, he was saying so many like demonic things to him that he just knew that he had to get out of there and not work with him. And it turns out that he was satanic practitioner. I mean, I was shocked to find that out about Christopher Walken.
Not surprised in any way, shape, or form. And
I just never thought that of him particularly, but yeah, you could go out there and Google it and find the
but
story.
yeah,
I mean,
Sean Ellis said where he floated across the room. Mish, I'm going to read your comment in just a sec. So Sean Ellis says he saw that interview. To me, when you
yeah,
get to the level of fame that the people that are famous around the world are famous for, there's an old saying: just follow the money and the company that you keep. And I'm telling you, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I know we've talked about many things off air, so we're being careful here on YouTube what we do say and what we don't. But I think when you get to that level of fame, yeah, it's pretty mind blowing. Actually, I watched an interesting interview, and I have a feeling that it may have been an older interview off of Sean Atwood. I don't watch him so much anymore, but there's a couple who really, really, really have dug deep into a lot of the deep, dark stuff in Hollywood. And there's an actor out there by the name of Isaac Cappy,
oh,
quite a
I
few
know
years
about it.
ago. Well, they have a whole page and they have videos and they have reports and they have everything. Like this is their life's work, figuring out what the heck was going on there. And, I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter what realm you play in, that there are people that have more money and more power, and a lot of their names aren't known to the public, and they would prefer to stay that way, I think. So once you start stepping out into the light and revealing things, life gets very difficult or you lose your life. Hmm.
Absolutely, which is what happened to him.
Hmm.
Yeah, very sad story. And yeah, Contessa, you're right about that. That he was involved, Christopher Walken, with the Natalie Woods thing. I mean, that whole story was so tragic in and of itself.
Hmm.
Poor
Yeah,
Natalie.
Contessa. Yeah, that's what I'm just reading it for people listening. Contessa says Christopher Walken was involved with the Natalie Woods death, as was her husband. I guess we'll never know the truth. Now, I'm going to read Mish's comment. I was going to read that while we were talking, but hang on, Mish. I'm going to go a little higher. So she's asking, can we tell people in the chat to change the settings to all messages, please? Sad because I'm saying good day and either not seen or LOL. So I didn't even know you could change that setting. Um, I don't know. Did you know that, Carolann? I mean,
To change it to all messages. I don't. I mean, I know it says that
let me check.
you can't post comments from some destinations. So if somebody's like on Facebook and they comment, we're not going to see it here. I mean, that's as far as I
No,
know.
we can't, but I think she's talking about, because I've been having this problem with Facebook a lot. We don't get to see a lot of the comments. I
Yeah.
think she's talking about YouTube, because YouTube, I don't know if you've been noticing this on your shows, but people, I'll use Mish for example. Like today, she's at Michelle, also known as Mish. But there's other people that are regularly on YouTube, and we know them by their names because they're here regularly. They're all coming up with numbers behind their names and stuff. So, Mish, let me check this for a second, the settings. Um, So where am I going if I want people to change this? Is it under privacy, Mish? You can let me know, and I'll be happy to let people know. Because people are saying
Are
I
you
see
talking
you.
on YouTube or in StreamYard? No, on YouTube, right?
No, because
Oh,
Allison's saying the
yeah,
same thing.
it is. There is a setting for that on YouTube. Um,
Is
Let
it
me
under
go look.
privacy?
No, it's right. Let me go look. I have to open
Yeah,
it
if you
up.
can find it, we'll find it out. Mish, thanks for mentioning it. And
Yeah,
we've
I
got
do it. Hold on. Let me
also a
open this.
bunch of people are saying this too. They're going, me too. So we got Nipun on there. I don't know what that. Sorry, it went by too quick there. On YouTube, lines with 2 dots above the chat. So I got to go right in there. So hang on. So on the video, we're live. So give me a sec. I want to see this for myself. I want to make sure I got no double audio here, guys. Give us a second. We'll figure this out because it's good to know, Mish. I'm glad you mentioned that. So let me see. Give me a sec. I don't see 3 dots here. Let me go under live.
Under the person's name there is, but there's no menu that says.
Yeah, because I think it's got to be in the settings.
I know
Yeah.
I saw it in the chat, not in the live chat, but in the chat below that. Like it's different. That like when there's a chat, when people leave comments, that's probably
Okay,
what I'm
Mish
thinking.
is saying on YouTube at the top right, 3 dots, it says live chat or top chat.
Oh,
What
top
devices are
man.
you guys using that? Because I'm on an iPhone here and on my laptop and I don't see it. What are you using, Caroline?
Okay, I'm in YouTube and I see there's right above the chat, there's a window that says top chat. You can change that to live chat, all messages are visible. That's
Okay.
exactly what I just did. There's
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
put all mess. I just found it 2 things, Caroline.
Oh, sure, yeah. I knew it was up there somewhere. Yeah, where everybody could see then.
Okay, guys, so let's see. Yeah, if you can. So I'm glad you explained it that way because I was checking the 3 lines. So you got to go right to the live chat again for people listening. And mine's got a gear on my iPhone. I click that. It says top messages are all. So you guys, please click all messages and you'll be able to see everybody, right? Because everybody probably wondering why is nobody saying hi? Because over here on our
Yeah.
StreamYard, it does say can't post comments to some destinations. For example, Instagram, I have to keep popping back and forth and it doesn't always show them. Thanks, Mish. We
So I
appreciate
guess
that.
you have
And
to
that'll be good
do
to know
that.
for future.
You have to do that for every show then, I would imagine, on YouTube. You
I
have to
think
go in and
so, yeah.
I don't think it's a stationary change. I think you have to go in and
There might be
well,
something in the settings, so you might be able to change is what
yeah, I
I'm
don't
thinking.
recall seeing anything, but we can check that for sure. But
Yeah,
thank
but
you.
it's good
Yeah.
to know because now we'll know because I've been noticing, like, depending, sometimes people are coming up with different names and they've been messing around with stuff with YouTube over the last couple of weeks. So that's good to know. So thanks, guys, for letting us
Oh,
know that.
absolutely. Good job. Good job.
So you were saying, yeah, like, or we were talking, it was like Isaac Cappy is a huge thing to look at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that, depending how deep you go and how much you dig, I think you guys would be very surprised with some of the things that you find. And some of the things that you do find, people are going, there's just no way. There's just no way those things can happen. Believe me, there is.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
is. And it's
You know what
dark.
I wanted to
And
ask you, Lorilei? I know we have a little bit of a lag, so I apologize if I seem like I'm talking over. I think there's a little bit of a
I'm
lag.
doing the same, guys, and we know this, but for you guys listening, go ahead.
Yeah.
I understand that. No problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a little maybe second or two. I wanted to ask you, and this might be off topic, but kind of not really. There's a video circulating around, largely like on Instagram. That's where I've seen it, of this 4-year-old boy who's in a car, and he's telling his mom in almost adult language
Someone just sent this to me today.
about the tsunami. So
Guess what?
anybody in the chat see that?
Yes, I have a feeling about this, and it wasn't until I saw the second little part someone sent me. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it kind of freaked me out because I have a granddaughter who's 8.
Mhm.
And I have 2 children that I raised, and I know what 4-year-olds sound like.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that freaked me out of the gate because they don't sound like 8-year-olds or 9-year-olds or 4-year-olds. Unless
I
they're
think
like,
I can send the link actually here. I think that's a new
yeah, that
thing
would
with
be
Square.
great. Maybe we could play it too. That would be awesome. But
Oh, we could play it. Yeah, give me a sec.
yeah,
But
the
okay,
theme,
so then hold that thought because I have squirrel brain because I had a huge revelation with the second part, and it was only about 15 seconds. It was sent to me in two bits and pieces. And then it all came together for me what this little boy's talking
oh,
about, I think.
oh, good. Could we
Mhm.
play it and then you could tell?
Yeah, give me one sec. Yeah, I think this little boy, I'm not going to give it away, but I think this little one is, well, like I said, I won't say
Darcy.
anything. Give me a sec if I can get my messenger. I do things backwards here because it's in Messenger, and I do it this way because otherwise, I'm upstairs, even though the Wi-Fi is below me. For some reason, it just decides that it's going to screw up my computer. I might have to go into Messenger here because I know who sent it to me. So give me a sec, guys.
Yeah,
But
take
I
your time.
did just see it. So I do think so. It doesn't take up my bandwidth. There it is right there. I know who sent it to me. I haven't talked to them in forever because it did freak me out too. I was thinking exactly what you did, Carolann, that little kids don't talk this way. And then the second part of the video, and we may see the whole video here because they probably had to split it up because it was too long sending it in Instagram. Yeah, here he is. Hang on. I just gotta anytime the rest of it wants to load. Give me a sec,
The
guys.
other tricky thing while you're doing that
Yeah, I
is
was a little freaked.
he seems American. The mother's American. They, or maybe Canadian. I'm not, but
Well, I think they're American. Yeah.
American, right? And he used meters instead of feet. And I thought that was
Yeah, I
so
go.
odd. But yeah, go
I
ahead, play it.
I don't. And I will in just a sec. Like I say, I'm going to share what my thoughts were because I was a little freaked out. He kind of, again, diagnosed, though I'm a nurse, me as a child who possibly could have something in the way of, it used to be called Asperger's. It's now called very high functioning autism by the way he speaks. Because like you said, we've had 4-year-olds, we've raised children. I've been around children my whole life, as I'm sure you have, but he sounds like a little professor. And I'm not diagnosing him. I know nothing about this child. Or I'm going to go with my initial thought in a minute. Hi, Fuzzy Booger. Um, let's see who else we got popping in here. Do we miss anybody? I think so. Okay, hang on here. It's starting. Okay, anytime now you want to let me play this. Okay, is it going to let me go back to the beginning? Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I don't know if it's going to let me go to the beginning here, guys. Let me see where he's at with it. I don't know how far, it might have cut some of it off, and just for fair use, we might have to pause it for a minute. Kathy Little, hello. She says, hi, all. I saw that today. You think it was AI generated? I don't know if it was AI generated, but you guys see what you think, what my thoughts are when I hear that, when you hear this. Now, again, I wish I could go right back. It's not letting me go right back to the beginning. Let me see if I can restart it. Usually it shows me the play line, but it's not. I don't know why. Let me see.
Guy said there's gonna be sharks and stuff.
It's gonna help if we can get this to go right back to the beginning, you guys. I might try I'm gonna let's see if I restart it and see if
the one I got started at that point too. That's the one I got it started around there.
No. Oh, did you? Okay. I'm trying to see the volume won't come up. I'm waiting for it. Okay, here.
A tsunami and like flood, but they call it the flood 2.0. And like there's gonna be a wave and like there's gonna be a tsunami and a flood.
Yeah.
And then the like tsunami's gonna be 800 meters in the air. And there's gonna be like,
I don't even know how big 800 meters is.
of big.
It sounds big.
It's bigger than the house.
I'm sure it is.
It's almost bigger than the planet. But there's gonna be stuff like sharks, and I think there's gonna be like great white sharks when the flood comes, because there's, well, like Guy said, there's gonna be sharks and stuff. I don't know. That's all.
Okay.
It's not AI. It's real life. Like, I'm horrified. Are we all just
horrified? Just horrified.
just gonna die today when the flood happens?
Well, I hope it's not today. We're screwed. We ain't got a boat.
It's not today.
Okay, well, that's good.
They did know, but I think the Earth just rebooted. And I don't know. I just don't know that everybody that's living here and like living in the like Earth thinks the Earth is real, but it's not actually real, because some scientists didn't find out. Because like there's a glitch.
So what is our life then?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a computer.
Like a simulation?
Yeah, I think it's a simulation. I feel like it's like a scientist testing like little tiny people. They really thought that reality was actually real down here, but actually little people like us are actually kind of real. But that's all.
Okay.
Well,
So what were you just telling me though?
oh yeah. There's gonna be.
Okay, this is restarting.
Yeah.
So
Did you
I
see
don't-
the mother's response to that? The mother made a video too.
no, I didn't see it. No.
Yeah, the mother made a response, and she said, my son always freaks me out, but and then she kind of talked about what he just said, and she asked him, she said, we're in Kentucky, don't you think we'll be safe? And he said no, because it's going to be, somebody posted the height. I guess they did a conversion.
I just seen 2,600.
Yeah, I don't know figures, but yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it kind of skipped me out, like the whole, I don't think it's AI
Okay.
first.
Okay, I don't think it's AI either. Hear me out. I didn't hear the mother's response. What I was feeling and what I was picking up, is there the potentiality that this child possibly died in the tsunami? Because he talks about it being Christmas Day, and a very large wall of water came through. What if this child is tapping into the past life? What if he died during that tsunami? Would he
I mean,
have
that's a possibility.
That's what I got from this kid, because I was kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
And then I went, holy crap, I think this kid is tapping into, like, don't get me wrong. And what people don't understand, especially if you have a child, and again, I can't diagnose this kid, but the way he talks like a little professor. Now, my son was limited very verbally, but I can tell you when my kid was even barely verbal, and it never failed. You'd have somebody coming in for 30 minutes, and they try and tell me there was nothing wrong with my son when he was little. I'm his mother. I love him more than life, and I'm telling you there is something wrong. I don't have Munchausen Munchausen syndrome by proxy, and I know they don't call it that anymore. And because my son would walk in there to get out of a noisy classroom or even a daycare or something and have one-on-one time with an adult, he'd be laughing and smiling, and they try and tell me for years. As he became an adult, it was very apparent there was something wrong with my son. But my point is, if my son had the verbal skills that child did, and even that's where I was going, he would go into an appointment and he had, I have a photographic memory too, but he had a photographic memory, and he would recite word for word something he had seen. And people were like, what did he just say? And so I think that could be part of what's going on with this kid. Plus, I really believe little ones up to about the age 4, maybe 5, because that's usually when the imaginary friend goes away. Um, I think little ones can see spirit. I think they are more closer to where we have come from, meaning wherever you believe we come from. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
memory of that, right? I'll bet you as this kid gets older, he's not going to be able to tap into that. Don't get me wrong. I also think that this kid, because there is no time on the other side, right? Past, present, and future are all happening at the same time. So is this kid tapping into as well that he knows exactly what's going on? How many times have we heard that the earth is a simulation? Right? And
Yeah,
that's going to
the
be
thing
too
that
earth.
tripped me out too was he said tsunami, the Great Flood 2.0.
Mhm.
What 4-year-old knows what even 2.0 is? I mean, he could be high level
Have
autistic.
you run into it? Okay, so this is, I'm not being disrespectful in any way because they never ever labeled Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory.
Right.
But it is, Sheldon is the epitome of somebody. They don't call it Asperger's syndrome anymore. They call it high functioning autism.
Yeah.
But I am telling you, the level of brilliance. One of my neighbor's sons has been diagnosed with it as well, and he sounds like a little professor. He is reading years beyond his capabilities. I was just talking to him today, and I felt like, oh my God, I feel like I'm talking to an adult here, little kid. Now, I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
saying
he could be, and it's like you said, you can't really make a diagnosis on a 10-second video, but
I can't diagnose anyways, even as a nurse, I can't, but I'm telling you, just from having lived with it, and I will tell you, when you meet someone with autism, you've really only met one person with autism. But there are classic characteristics with this. And he reminds me that never mind if he is tapped in. Like I had a lady on my show a couple times, Jess Curzon, and she's been on the telepathy tapes. You know, that really popular, it's they did season 1, I think they're doing season 2, and they're tapping in especially into people that are nonverbal, and the incredible wisdom and knowledge that these people are able to share, and the telepathy that goes on. And she even was behind a filter. I know what she looks like. I didn't realize that her name is not Jess Curzon, and she's written a book. She's working on a second. She is a special ed teacher over in the UK, and she's retired now. She's a senior. And anyways, she had a little 6-year-old little boy, nonverbal, be brought into her class, and part of it is he headhunted her, is how she describes it. He started communicating with her telepathically. She didn't know any about this stuff. She didn't believe in any of this stuff. She didn't believe in anything like this. And eventually, he has taught her how to communicate telepathically. She has talked about, you guys can go back and look if you want for some of the shows. It's fascinating what she's talked about with Asher, not his real name. What they still do with remote viewing. He lives hours away from her in the UK. They don't even see each other, but communicate constantly, telepathically. She's talked about the experiments that they've done with remote viewing. She doesn't even know where she's going to make it really random. And he already a week before has tapped in with remote viewing and described exactly where she's going to be. And she talks about on my shows that she asked a friend just to drive her anywhere around London. Didn't said, I don't want to know where we're going or anything. And then is able to receive via email. And he had sent it ahead of time. He said, don't open this a week before. And indeed, he described exactly where she was going to be, what she was going to be doing, what she was going to be wearing. So how does that happen? Right? And when I'm saying, and the reason why, I know why she doesn't use her real name, and I know why she doesn't show her face on camera, because I asked her in one of the shows she was on, I said, good Lord. I said, imagine if the powers that be found Asher, what they could do with Asher if they knew who Asher was. So there are people out there, and I think that that's part of my thing out here. Not that I think I'm important or anything, but I think that the people that I connect with and the people, with the show or whatever, is to remind every single human being on this planet that either hears this or whatever it may be. I'm not going to reach the whole world. I never would. But to remind each and every one of us about how incredibly powerful and gifted we are as human beings. Because we've never been taught that, Carolann. We've never been taught to understand Like what this little boy's talking about, the simulation, power of our thoughts, our words, emotions, how incredibly powerful that is, right? I think this
Well,
boy. Mhm.
some people are taking him so seriously. There's a gentleman who built a few arcs already because there are people taking him very seriously and building arcs to survive this tsunami. Now, whether it's going to be a global problem, maybe it's a tsunami located in a specific country, maybe he's getting a download from
I
somewhere.
don't even know if he's not tapping into a different timeline, is what I'm
It
saying
could
to you.
be.
Like and the thing is, right, that this is fear creating for people. And I'm not dissing anybody's thoughts, but we never die, right? We never ever die. We're made of energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, but transferred from one place to another. I just described Asher. Asher wouldn't be able to do what he can do if he wasn't able to tap into the universal consciousness, into source, to where we come from, if it didn't exist, right? So
Yeah.
yes, I've had someone recently on too that built an ark, and as he was talking, and I didn't know he built an ark, and he hadn't seen this video, and I kept hearing from spirit, he there was, I could see it, there had to have been a copper rod in there with a quartz crystal. I could see it so freaking clearly, and I just kept hearing it over and over and over. Ask him, ask him, ask him. So I asked him. He was absolutely blown away and shocked. He goes, oh my god, yeah, we did. They don't know why they built this ark or what, but this was a couple of years ago. They built this ark. So yes, there could be another flood coming. I've the Cascadia subduction zone over on the west coast in the U.S. is completely overdue to basically have it's a volcano to blow, and it's said that it's going to take down most of the west coast on in North America, part of the
And
east
you've got
coast.
Yellowstone too,
Mm-hmm.
which is brimming and
Mm-hmm.
brewing and doing what
Mm-hmm.
it does. I mean, it could happen. This is why Eckhart Tolle wrote a book years ago that never left me, and it's called The Power of Now. And it just made me live in this
Yeah.
now moment.
Mm-hmm.
It impacted me so greatly that when something happens or something negative happens around me or to someone I know, or if I get anxious, I just repeat a mantra and I say everything is fine in this now moment, because it is. Everything is fine in this now moment. And that gets me through everything, because we always fret and worry about things that quite possibly will never even happen. Most of the scientists have determined that the stuff we worry about, like 80% of it never happens. It's just all, like you say, in the squirrel brain. So,
Plus, we have the power to change our own reality. No, you're not going to. I guess if there was enough of us and we really knew the tsunami was coming, because we've seen it happen on our Bell show, creating
yeah.
rain in Texas when there was no rain. I have been part of, and have we done it? No, there's other people working on it besides ourselves, but turning major hurricanes and storms and things like this. That's what I'm talking about, being powerful. And I say this a lot. I don't usually get to do shows on my own, but all we have is now.
That's
That
it.
word right there is already in the past, right? And
It
there's a saying, you know what? Don't look back, because you're not going in that direction. You were going forward. And
yeah.
there's a proverbial question of a few people have asked over the centuries, but if today was your last day on earth, when you wake up in the morning tomorrow, you knew that, how would you choose to live your day? And the
Mm,
thing is, none of us are promised tomorrow, as you and I
well,
both very well know. And so, we have that choice. How do you choose to live your day? And how do you choose to be around people, right? Like,
yeah.
I can tell you with my son, I don't have one regret as his mother.
Yeah, of course not.
I know I did the best I possibly could do. I know I loved him to the fullest I could love him. And I know he is still around.
Well,
So,
that's why he shows you. I believe that we choose our parents too before we arrive here and knew he was going to get the best mom he could possibly have in you.
Well, I think that's for all of us, right? We do choose the important people in our lives that we have around us. And even though anybody who's lost someone that they love more than life itself would choose to have them in front of us right now physically,
Absolutely.
but we can still connect with them. We can still meet with them. And even though we may not be able to hear them, you can bet for damn sure they hear you. And they are there with you. They are there for every big momentous occasion. I told you before we went live, I'm not really looking forward to celebrating Christmas, but I will, because I know my son's going to be there. Our loved ones are there. And there was a comment here I wanted to bring up a little, because it's important, Mish, what you said here. But we need to look back because history can repeat. I think that's a powerful statement in the fact that, yes, but the thing I think we need to do is to really dig and look at history and put the pieces together in the best way we can using a variety of resources. Because people maybe think I'm crazy. I think we are on between the fifth and seventh iteration of Earth here and humanity. I have been saying for the past year in particular, and I'm not biblical, it feels like Sodom and Gomorrah around the world right now.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing because, we need to learn from history, but it seems like the elites that are in charge never do. They keep repeating the same wars and the same playbook, and unfortunately, they don't use history to their benefit. I mean, we may in our personal lives.
We don't use history to our benefit because right, that's why I brought that up. Hi, Julia Evans. I see she's here from over in the UK. I know it's late over there. Thank you for joining us. That's what I meant though, right? Because we don't learn from history because history in what's been recorded, I believe a lot of it has been changed.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're not able to learn from our mistakes. That's why I brought that up, Mish, because I think it's important with what you just said. There is a reason to look back. Yes. What can we learn from what we've done? But the other thing, I just said this to someone very close to me in the last couple of weeks, because they seem to always be living in the past. Their high school days and the good old days. And, if only I had done this and if only I had done that. And I just said to them, have you ever thought that maybe you need to embrace everything that's happened to you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the amazing, all of it, because you wouldn't be the person that you are today. You wouldn't be where you are today. If you change one little thing, butterfly effect, your whole life changes.
Yeah,
right?
say that. Yeah. So true.
I'm
said this, which I think is great.
Oh, I should have told you that. Yeah, go ahead and highlight stuff. I just assumed you would, so go ahead.
I didn't want to jump you.
No, you go ahead, Carolann. It's our show tonight, not my show. So you go for it. You highlight whatever you want to highlight.
Thank you. No, I just agree with that statement that we've been repeating history over and over again because we just, and you're right about history. We've been lied to. I mean, look at Tartaria, right? It's so clear. Those with eyes could see. We had magnificent buildings that were destroyed during the mud flood, supposedly, and buried and built on top of. And now we have these ugly buildings, like look at New York City. It's, I've worked there my whole life. It gets to you. It just like consumes you. There's very little beauty left in there. There's some, but so yeah, history has been manipulated. So has medicine, and you know that better than they've taken holistic teachings out of medicine.
We almost need a reset, and I think what I'm seeing, depending on who people are, there's a lot more people, quote unquote, waking up, and instead of whether they got to make a lot of sacrifices now, deciding to educate the children at home, or what. And again, I'm not knocking anybody that needs religion in their life. To me, it doesn't matter what vehicle you take. If it brings you closer to being, better person to yourself, to people around you, in service to others, you do that. But I'm noticing that, to me, I've always said that, because I say I was forced to go to church since I was in the womb. I was forced to go to Catholic school and what have you. But when I was taught, God's everywhere. And if God's everywhere, never mind that God is our Father, I've never
Yeah.
needed to go to a special building to go speak to God.
That's correct. I was just talking to someone about that today because, I went to Catholic schools too. I went through the same thing, and I
I'm
pray.
retired, a retired Catholic, I say.
Tired, yeah. I mean, I pray anywhere and everywhere I need to, but this is so true. Allison said the reason humanity is so stuffed. Well, I guess she meant
I
that.
highlighted that. Yes, I agree.
All right. Because people have a massive fear of death and will do anything not to die, and that is the gospel truth. That is the gospel truth right there.
And we can't blame people because, the same reason why change is hard for a lot of humanity. Even myself,
Yeah.
I've done a lot of work to be able to accept change and to adapt to it. It's the fear of the unknown. A lot of
Absolutely.
people have no idea what's going to happen once they passed away. I can tell you, even people like I meant that when I said at the beginning that I've studied near-death experiences professionally and
Yeah.
personally for over
Yeah.
40 years. And the amount of people that have come back from a near-death experience being a complete atheist, believing there is nothing beyond this life.
Yeah.
And just the words coming out of their mouth after that experience, and boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have the paranormal, I think. We wouldn't
That's
have
right.
mediumship, whether people believe it or not. I really believe we do go on forever. And I'm not pushing my beliefs on anybody else, but you
Yeah,
just look at
no.
hmm you just look at those two fields. And
Yeah. I
how
mean,
does that
Benno said in the comments too that I'm not afraid of death now, but I still want to find joy in life again. Of course, we're humans trapped, and I almost hesitate using that word trapped, but it almost feels that way in this body. We're spiritual beings living a life trapped in a body for a purpose. We're supposed to be able to experience things for our growth and development and our connection to God, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it almost feels that we're trapped here. But the thing that bothers me too is when people try to take away our humanness, and they say things like, oh, you should curb your emotions, don't display emotions. I mean, yeah, it's good to have a grasp on your emotions. You don't want to be a screaming mimi, constantly, but you can't suppress them either. It's very unhealthy to do that. You're supposed to feel them, grow from them, and move past them. That's like the ideal scenario. So if you get angry, and then just let it pass through you and learn from it. But there are people and a school of thought that tell us to suppress that. And I disagree with that.
Okay, so you've said some important things here. Firstly, this came from my partner who I live with. I didn't come up with it. You heard the old saying, think outside the box. Well, how
Oh,
about
yeah.
thinking like there is no box? And I don't blame humanity for this, but the majority of the developed world, like we've all been around little kids,
Yeah.
3 years old, asking 2 years old, but why? 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 But why? But why? And they ask why over and over and over and over. They go to school and they get told why.
That's
They
right.
get told that this is the way it is, and you're constantly, from the time you were a very small child, having
That's
to
right.
obey an authority figure, and you were told what to think, and you were told what this is, and this is the way it is, and you go all the
We were
way through life.
indoctrinated.
Then you
All
go to,
indoctrinated.
sorry.
I said we were all indoctrinated. Exactly correct.
Yes. So what happens? You go to a job, you do all this stuff, you're told what to do. I use this analogy a lot. God forbid there's a plane that goes down with a lot of people and it lands on a desert island. Okay. And many people survive, thankfully, or most or all. And all of a sudden people go, oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to survive? Blah, blah, blah. Are we going to get water? Where we? And sure enough, there's always one person, maybe two, but one who thinks you know what, I'm not sitting with this fear. I'm not doing this. I'm going off this way, and this is what I think I'm going to do. And what do people do? Because they're always used to looking for a leader. So they all start to follow and they wait to get told. So that's where I'm going with this right? And this came from spirit too. What we perceive becomes what we believe, and it becomes our reality. So if we believe we are trapped, if we believe all of these things, or that people say this or people say that, well, how about we use our brains and we think for ourselves? Because people don't know your story and my story and everybody's story in the chat. The person that knows you best is you. And we have that inner voice. We have that inner knowing. It's being able to step away, take a couple deep breaths. If you can, take your shoes and socks off, get them on some earth, or even do some grounding. Quiet the mind for a bit. Go within and ask those questions, because the answers you hear, I tell you, especially if it's coming from a place that's lovingly said, right? There's love in that. Follow that inner voice, because you know yourself best. The other thing I'm going to add to, because I'm seeing, I forget who it was, Oz, I think, Benno, about finding joy. When my son died, and I'm usually a pretty happy person, remember a couple days afterwards, I was sitting there connecting with spirit, and I said, I hate the way I am feeling. I don't want to feel this way. I don't like what's going on. How do I move through this? And the advice I was given was, the only way through this is basically through this. So exactly what you said, Carolann, every emotion you feel, you got to process it, you got to go through it, and you got to feel it. And the other piece of advice I was given, find little tiny pockets and moments of joy. Even if it's for 30 seconds, even if it's for a minute. And you know what? Especially I was in a state of shock, I think, till the end of August this year. But my thing where I'm going with this is, you know what? It's going to sound silly, but people know I love resin and stuff. There's these little things, they shouldn't be made for kids anyways. Miniverse Make It Minis. And they came out with them. And you know what? There was Harry Potter ones with little tiny, tiny molds. I picked them up. And did I feel like doing them? No, but I forced myself, because it made me happy. It made me stop thinking about how sad I was.
Exactly.
And I felt happy. And as that started to go on, it started to build and build and build, right? And then going to bed at night, instead of focusing on the negativity. And I still do this, guys. And in the morning, even if you feel like you got nothing thankful to be thankful for, you got a bed to support you when you're laying down, thanking whoever your belief is, even if you don't have a belief, just thanking whomever that you have. Start counting the positive moments in your life, because the more we do that, the more the universe brings good to us. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's so darn true. Like I start my day and end my day with gratitude, regardless of if I had a day that wasn't so pleasant. And I'm very careful. I try to be very careful with the verbiage, and not walk around and say, "Oh, I'm having a bad day." No, don't use those words. Try to think about the words, that because they are spells. That's where spelling comes from.
Well, I'm laughing because I had a day like this about 2 Wednesdays ago. Everything that could have gone wrong did. And every time it did, guys, you've heard me say this so many times, I try to walk the walk of the talk that I do. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. But everything that could have went wrong, one after another after another. So the two things I kept telling myself is, I refuse to say I'm having a bad day. So stop, cancel, delete, start over. And I swear to God, and I'm not talking out loud, I kept saying in my head, okay, spirit, I know everything happens for a reason. I don't know why the hell my toilet got plugged for 3 hours. I don't know what's spiritual about it, but okay, I'm going to accept that. Maybe I won't know the reason, but that was how I processed it. And that's what I'm saying. We have that within. We have the brains to think about this. It's about perspective and shifting it, I think, because no one's going to make us happy. No one's going to fix it for us. And when people tell you this is the way you need to think, and this is what you need to do, and this is, you go within, because I guarantee you, nobody knows you better than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I detached myself from thinking that everything that goes wrong has a spiritual reason. So like your
I
toilet
just
gets
gave you the example. I don't know what it is, but I said there's got to be a reason. Maybe I'll never know the
There's
reason.
not,
You know,
Lorilei. There's
that's
not
the
always a
freaking
freaking
thing.
reason. It's
Mhm.
not always spiritually connected. We're earthbound creatures, and sometimes we have to experience these things
Mhm.
that are within this confine. The garage door breaks, your
Mhm.
refrigerator breaks. It's not always something you
Yeah, but the
manifesting.
way I look at it, I'm going to add this, see what you think. The way I look at something like that is, yeah, no, there may not be a spiritual meaning behind those things breaking, but maybe the person you connect with that maybe is coming to help you fix that. Maybe you
True.
were meant to connect with them for a certain reason, and it may not be for you. What we
Exactly.
forget is we play a part in that as well for others that may need what we have to give to them, and vice versa. Or I'm late, or something happens that way, right? I try to remember that had I taken off and gone when I did, how do I know I might not have been in a fatal car accident or wherever the heck it might have been, is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So
I
that's what
don't
I'm saying.
believe in.
Holding that, you don't know
No,
why.
that's so true.
Mhm.
That's so true. Like I don't believe in coincidences at all, but I believe in serendipity. And
Absolutely.
everything in our lives is serendipitous. Like you said, your refrigerator broke. Maybe the repairman comes over to your house, you start dating him, and you end up marrying him. You don't know in life.
Or maybe
And
he was having a really terrible day, for example, and
right,
thought, you know what, when I go home tonight, that's it, I'm ending it all. But he interacts with whomever, right?
exactly.
And they
Could have
have
been
an
anything.
incredible. It's
Correct.
funny how God works, how we
Yes.
started this podcast, right? And
Yes.
what Jim is noting, these serendipitous moments, and
Absolutely.
recognizing this has to be, or when his dad passed away, and the damn cardinal that showed up every day for a year and a half till he went to Turks and Caicos was sitting there crying, watching the sunset a year and a half later, finally said within his head, I can't keep crying like this, Dad, I gotta let you go, I'm gonna let you go. Comes back, cardinal's gone. Never had any more birds banging into his window since then. And that bird was there every day, banging into the window, day and night, day and night, day and night. Was
That's
it just
crazy.
coincidence? I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a pretty big coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's funny because if you social media is good in a lot of ways because it allows us to connect and learn from each other. You just have to learn not to like overuse it and doom scroll all day. But there's lessons in there, and I've learned a lot of things. But if you look at a lot of what's going around, even about ET and about
Mhm.
UAPs, there's a lot of talk about them being demonic. And there's priests coming out saying don't be tricked. A lot of these are demonic entities tricking you, and sometimes it could be so cumbersome because we're trying to find out what's true, and what's true for you may be very different than what's true for me, but there is the truth about it. And
Mhm.
hopefully one day, maybe in our passing, we will all discover the actual truth of why we're here. Why do we have so much pain and suffering? Why do children suffer? What is the suffering of children all about? I forget the philosopher, I want to say Nietzsche, who said that he became an atheist because solely of the suffering of children. He couldn't fathom it in his head that a God would cause children who are innocent and pure to suffer. And that actually made him become an atheist because he couldn't reason it out. And this is Nietzsche.
But the thing is, right, if we go back to something you said earlier, that we choose our parents, right? And we have a soul group. I believe that we reincarnate with every time we reincarnate.
Mm-hmm.
There are reasons why, and I don't think God causes, and it's just my thoughts, and you guys can completely disagree with me, but if we choose to come here, and we do, I think this is one of the most difficult places we can come to. I don't think this is the only place we've ever reincarnated. We have been it all. We have been rich. We've been poor. We've been the bad guy. We've been the good guy. We have been that child with a disability. We have been famous. We
Yes.
have been all of these things. But where I'm going with this is God doesn't choose those things. Like when you sit down and you look at this journey that you come here for, we come into these dense, heavy, fragile bodies. We come in, most of us, with spiritual amnesia. We don't remember the lessons we've learned in previous lives, or the
Right.
experiences we've had, or a life back in heaven, or whatever you want to believe where we come from, right? But sometimes we come and we make that sacrifice, I think, as a human being. And I'm going to use a sad scenario for a moment. Say a parent whose child was kidnapped and their life was taken, for example, right?
Yeah.
And the horrible thing that happens, and we have the choice, and I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong. I think we have to go within and see what feels and resonates right for us. But
Yeah.
that child's life is lost. And say that was a spiritual thing that was decided before they reincarnated, because we know basically we're coming here. I've agreed to take on the role of Lorilei Potvin in this lifetime, but that's not who I am as a soul. That's just who I'm in this lifetime as. Okay, so going back to the child, right? And this horrible, horrible thing happens, and each and one of us has the choice. Not one's better than the other, but a parent can sit in absolute anger and bitterness and hatred and everything else, and nobody could blame them. Or we've seen some incredible, phenomenal things that parents have chosen to do out of one of the most horrible things that could happen. And this isn't the only example. But where I'm going with this is, because of what happened to their child, they say, I don't ever want another parent to go through what we've gone
Yes.
through. They take that experience and they create incredible things, whether it's changes in laws or it's
Yeah.
foundations or whatever it is. And yes, that's a horrible thing. God didn't plan that. God gives us free
No.
will when we're here, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
hear
why I
Mhm.
don't think God has so much to do with our comings and goings and our
He
decisions.
sends us with so many tools. We just don't realize all the tools. It's
Exactly,
like us
Laura.
being sent to summer camp, the way I like to look at it, right? You're sending your kid off to summer camp and you're packing their backpack and you put everything in there, but there's no internet, there's no phones. All there is letter writing, say way back in the day. So you send them with possibly everything you think they could do, like that they need. But you also know that there's going to be counselors and people to help along the way. Plus, this is also an independence learning experience for your child. They're going to come back a different person from that experience, right?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of the way I think that whether you want to call it source, the universe, or whatever you want to call it, right? And it hit me about a year or two ago, and I started thinking all the incredible resources, never mind, quieting the mind, going within. We can tap into that higher self. We can tap into that knowledge base, going into the Akashic records, connecting maybe with somebody that does astrology and looking at your soul chart and things like that. Plus, not recognizing each and one of us has the power, to change our life, to create the life we want to live, right? Instead of worrying about the external sources of people telling you. It was a friend of mine, one of my closest friends recently said, and she's American, and most of my friends are, and she said, I was so PO'd. She goes, I was listening to the radio and they were saying 52,000 plus people traveling. She lives in, I think, the South, in the US, and it's the busiest travel day of the week or the year. And she went, says who? Because you're telling me it's the busiest travel day of the year. Yes, it is the busiest travel day of the year. But I think the point she was making is, here's an external source telling us this. So we've already got it filed away. We're already expecting this. We're already imagining it. But rather than I'm saying going within, turning off these external sources and
Yep.
going within. Mm-hmm.
Hegel developed what's called the Hegelian dialectic, and
Mm-hmm.
it's problem, reaction, solution. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what they do. So, like the globalists, the elitists, whatever you want to call they, whoever they are, they create the problem. They wait for us to react. And
Because
then
they know how we're going to react. That's why
exactly.
we're talking about this stuff.
Right. And then miraculously, they have the solution. Isn't that just
Mhm.
a coincidence? See, the whole thing is planned you know, the funny thing is, when you wake up from this lucid dream of life and you start to wake up and you start to see all the lies that we've been told, all the deception about everything, money, health, just everything. And it doesn't make you really cynical. It's not like I'm this cynical person, but it's a lonely place to be at times, because there's only like us in here. We're fortunate that we can connect on this level and have these conversations, because try to do that with a lot of the people. Yes, psyops. Try to do that with a lot of the people in like the real world out there, and they look at you like you're crazy. Like if I
I
were
don't
told
even bring this stuff up with people. Do you think I tell people that I'm a psychic medium or I'm all? I don't tell anybody this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know that people are going to look at you like you're crazy. But thanks, Benno. He says, cool conversation today. Carolann and I have conversations like this off air too. So, but the thing is, right? Yeah. So and I've been having this particular part about trying to connect to find your people, right?
Yeah.
There's
So
8.4
important.
billion people out there in the world. Thank God we have social media, because I do take the weekends off. I told you that myself in my message. You messaged me on Saturday, right? And I said I usually take the weekends off. I do if I can.
Yeah.
I really do. But there are other people where we can have these conversations, where we can connect with these type of people. Everybody in this chat right here that's here. And you guys, believe it or not, I know we don't see a ton of people in the chat part. 80% plus of our audience, and we do broadcast to every country in the world, is audio only. So they are
Yeah, a lot.
listening. So we are going out, like I'm not kidding, to almost 1 million people live right now. We do get our numbers. So there are people all listening, tuning into this. Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm planting these seeds, and we meet these people. These people hear us, the people we have on our shows, the people we connect with. And I think that that's why, and I've been hearing this from or I've been saying this too, right now, everybody has a podcast. Everybody has a podcast. And I say this with zero disrespect, but not everybody is meant to be a podcaster.
True.
But why do you think it's blowing up? Is because people are waking up. People are sick of the same stuff we've been fed for days and days and centuries on end. Well, not centuries, but I'll say decades on end. And we're recognizing what people want is to be able, I believe, to have a real conversation and be able to talk about these type of things and see two real people having a real conversation. And you guys are in the same room with us by being in the chat.
Yeah. So you can't, this is what's great about America and Canada, hopefully. I don't know too much about the goings on over there. I read a lot about what's going on.
You don't want to know.
Some of it breaks my heart. Some of it breaks my heart. Because I loved Canada. I've been there a few times. It's a gorgeous country. But anyway.
Hi, Jody.
The great thing about living in America is we have a constitution that protects us.
I go on and on, especially if I'm on Joe Montaldo's show. We're giving the owner of the network a shout out here. He's amazing, as is Michelle DeRoche, our friend, as well as station manager. I meant that. I said most of my friends are in the US. I have friends from all over, as most of us do. But do you know how many people I have said this to off air? You guys, that your forefathers who wrote that Constitution, I am getting goosebumps. Don't you ever let that go. When we found out that we didn't have free speech here in Canada, and I can't say the word, but what went on over the last 5 years, as did many countries of people that are in the chat right now, I'm going to say Australia, many of the world, UK, all over, we don't have free speech. That Constitution that you guys have is a work of genius and is so incredible. Don't ever let anybody change that.
It was an intervention from the divine when they created it. And there was a lot of youth that created it as well. And like some 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds that actually created it. So you can't, you were talking about being able to speak and say these things, and in this, the folks in the chat, we can say what we feel and say what we think because we're blessed to have this protection. But there are so many countries, the majority of them, that don't. Look what's going on in Europe too. You cannot suppress the truth. That was the point I was trying to make,
You
because
can.
it will find a way to float to the top. It just will.
I say that too. Especially over the last 5-6 years, I've been saying that. And again, we go back to the power of our thoughts, our words, and our emotions. I agree 100% with you that our words are spells.
Oh
How
yeah.
powerful. That's why I was saying I think that's part of what I'm doing here, kind of part of my role. And I don't want to make that sound egotistical, because I'm not coming from that
No.
place, but to remind people each of us has that power within. And you know what? We go back to the cliche saying of, with great power comes great responsibility. But where I'm going with this is, each one of us has that. Even countries, like, we're pretty censored here in Canada, but there are way worse countries off than what we have. And even they find a way to get the truth out there. They get
Absolutely.
to use their voices. And I remind people, not so much on air, but off air. When we talked about, I like to call them the puppet masters, the family, whatever you want to call them, that control the powers that control everything here. And I'm still not 100% convinced that it's not coming from off planet. But my point is that there's 1%, it's 1%. We're the 99%. So to remind people that and again, another thing, Spirit's given me a lot of things over the years. Another one is, and I used to say this when my son was little, be having a 3-hour meltdown, and all you could do was hold him. And everything, oh God, what am I going to do? Just hold him, right? And it came to me one day, and it's this: if it doesn't make any difference 10 minutes from now, let alone 10 years from now, right? Stop, let it go, and pick your battles, because I guarantee you, and where I'm going with this is what they want. Us to be in fear, to be fighting with one another, whether they want to use race, whether they want to use gender, they want to use sexuality, whatever it is, because then we're not paying attention to the little man behind the curtain. This is what they've always used, right? We can shift that, we can change that. Like, and that's where I've been going with this. People, or politics, or whatever people are fighting about, religion or whatever. You ask yourself 10 years from now, if you've blocked somebody or you've had a major disagreement, and I'm seeing a lot of that with politics right now, and I'm not trying to get into politics. You ask yourself 10 years from now, you run into that person, or you look at that person that you blocked on the other, are you going to remember why you are no longer speaking to that person? Will it even matter?
Yeah.
Put our differences aside, and we need to pull together. We don't all have to agree. That's okay, but there's a bigger thing here, right?
It's
We can create
communication,
what we want.
Lorilei.
Sorry?
The art, it's all about communication. The art of communication, unfortunately, is dying. I don't want to say it's dead, but it's dying. People do not know how to communicate. When I was growing up, we didn't care if you were left, right, or center. If you
Nope.
were red, brown, blue, nobody cared, Lorilei.
I agree.
Nobody gave a poop. Okay. We spoke to each other. Democrats married Republicans. Nobody cared. Why? Because we talked, we communicated, we shared and exchanged thoughts and ideas. And that's how America became great. And that's how things are invented. And that's how technology grows. The art of listening is dying. Yes. What is it? 8 seconds is the attention span of the average
And
person.
communication. And it's okay if you guys don't agree, or you don't agree with somebody. Doesn't mean you have to throw away your family or your friends or whatever it
Right.
is, because you know what? Again, 10 years from now, is that really, there's not going to be the same people in power. You don't even know if you're going to be here 10 years from now. And I'm not trying to be a fatalist, right?
Here
And then
in Africa. Yeah.
you go back to, if you were told tomorrow, this is your last day on earth, how would you choose to live it? And nobody's going to be perfect at that, all right? But if we can try, not from a fatalist perspective, but the fact that you were told this, what would you do with that 24 hours? Because nobody's promised tomorrow. And I'm not being a fatalist here. What I'm saying is none of us know when we're leaving here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. You're exactly correct. And then when you pass, think about after you pass in 100, 200 years, nobody's even going to remember you because genealogy, maybe somebody does some genealogy. They'll go, oh, that was my great, 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 great grandmother. I mean, it's ridiculous the things we fret about and worry about. I look at it like we're all light workers. I believe that. All of us in here are light workers spreading light. That's what we're doing. When we have these conversations, we're spreading the light. We're, call it the truth, whatever word you want to use. And that's one of the reasons why I was so attracted to doing this type of work. Because there are people, like you said, that will hear this and it can absolutely change and transform their life.
Mm-hmm. Well, Spirit just gave me this when you were speaking too, because you had a good point. 100 or 200 years from now, is anybody going to even know who you are? But how about even asking yourself this? What do you want to be known for? What mark do you want to leave on the world? Maybe you write, and again, having worked in palliative care out in the community, and I've talked about this many times on air, even off air, but I have looked after people that have had billions, and I've worked after people who were homeless and had nothing. And I guarantee you, every single patient I had, not one of them said, gee, I wish I'd spent more money. Or, gee, I wish I'd lost that 30 pounds before I was dying. Or, geez, I wish. Every single one of them said to me, I wish I had told the people around me every day how much they mean to me, how much I love them, because you can't take any of that with you. So what mark, sorry, I got to plug this back in. What mark for you that are either watching or listening to this do you want to leave on this earth? Exactly. You don't have to have other people tell you. I guarantee you too, people that have a lot of money and that are famous, they have the same problems as we do. They have the same feelings of insecurity as we do. They have many of the same things. They may have more money. I've heard the saying, more money, more problems. I'm not saying everybody does. But where I'm going with this is, just even random acts of kindness, and not just because it's a holiday season coming up. And bonus points if you don't tell everybody on social media, right? Doing good in the world, leaving your mark, right? If you will, leaving this place at least hopefully better than it was than when you arrived here. Exactly. I think that counts for a lot.
Yeah, that's so well said. So true. Leave it a better place than when you found it.
And again, you run into a lot of people that say, well, when I get that certain person, or when I get married, or, meet the love of my life, or I lose that final 50 pounds or 20 pounds, or I get this, or I do that. Do it now. I am a procrastinator, and the first one to admit it. I am running around with squirrel brain doing 1,000 things at once. But I'm still trying to at least get things done or focus on things. But where I'm going with this is, right, and doing little steps at a time. If you've got something you have been thinking about doing, all those either watching or listening, what's stopping you from doing it? Even if you take one step, 5 minutes, and you put 5 minutes into it every day, in a month you're gonna move forward, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know, Lorilei.
We went all around the sun tonight, girl.
We're trying.
This just flew by. Tonight. I'm so glad you came on.
Oh my gosh,
I always love talking to you.
Oh, I do too. I can't wait for you guys to come on my show too. Oh yeah, I read that.
I know we're doing this all. Is it next Friday? Is it next Friday we're coming on?
I think it's
Yeah, it's
the
next
19th, isn't it?
19th.
Let me
Yeah,
see. I
because
have it right.
somebody asked me about the 19th something, December, and I knew I had it in my
December
phone.
19th.
Yeah, and I was looking at my calendar, there's nothing on there, and I'm hearing, no, you have something on the 19th. Oh,
Yeah.
And Carrie,
Of
you
course,
just
I'll talk to you guys before then, of course.
yes, like Carrie Fassett, all I keep hearing is if tomorrow was your last day, Nickelback lyrics. Very truth telling by fellow Albertans. Yes, from Alberta, Nickelback. Those guys get knocked for a loop, but they're pretty world famous, or they were at least back in the day. That's for
I
sure.
thought they were a pretty decent band. I don't know
I
why
love Nickelback.
I don't know why they goof on them like that. It's terrible.
Mhm. I thought it was terrible too. And when you hear the story about how he started to create the music and the lyrics and stuff, it's a pretty interesting story. I'll tell you.
Oh,
How
I
he
never
did it.
heard.
Well, basically, without getting too deep into it, from what Del, my partner, was saying, he's looked into documentaries. A few things they've made is Chad, the lead singer, started looking at all the famous songs out there and the ones that shot up the charts and stuff. And apparently, I'm not going to get this right. There's 4 or 5 chords that apparently the way they're arranged and the way they're played, that it seems to appeal to a good portion of the world and many of the world's most famous songs. So that is what he broke into. So he had to be a pretty talented musician, I would think, to arrange them into unique songs.
Oh, yeah.
But that's how it started. And that's when they took off, is when he kind of figured out that little secret. So,
well, they can still pack a stadium. So everybody seems to like them. I mean,
I haven't seen them live yet. I've got a couple bucket list bands: Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I wouldn't mind seeing Nickelback. How about you? If you got any bucket list bands or anything you want to see? God, I sound so fatalist tonight, and I don't mean it that way, you guys.
I would love to see Radiohead. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that's
that would be okay. Actually, you know who I'm getting kind of into, and I don't like country music, but I do like him, is Jelly Roll.
Oh, he's great. My daughter loves him. She's always playing his music. He's great. Another very spiritual, very spiritual individual too. Yeah.
I found him before he became famous.
Oh, no kidding.
How I found him? Well, really famous. Once upon a time, years ago, I used to follow Jeffree Star, like his makeup and stuff, because he does have.
Oh, I still do. I still do.
Okay,
I love him.
I do too. And so he was launching, I believe it was his store. What state is he in now? Because he moved out of LA.
He lives in the Midwest somewhere.
Montana?
Like Montana or Idaho. One of those.
Okay, so he opened, I want to say, a makeup and meat store, basically. And to launch it, he goes, yeah, and I'm having Jelly Roll play. And I'm thinking, who the heck is Jelly Roll? Like, this was quite a few years ago. And I looked him up. That's how I found him. Mm-hmm.
That's hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
Such a talented guy.
Talented. Kathy, yes. Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I saw them, though. I saw them twice.
You saw Zeppelin?
Twice.
No way.
Madison Square Garden. Yeah.
Wow.
It was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing.
Well, next time you come on, we'll have to get into that, because this has just flown by. So, Carolann, tell people what you got coming up, all about your shows, anything you got going on.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I have tomorrow a show, and we're going to be talking about ancestral dreaming, healing generational wounds through dream work with Linda Schiller. So that's going to be, I read her book. It was really phenomenal stuff. Wow. And that's, when did I say that was? Wednesday. So that's Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I'm super excited because I have a gentleman called Julio Consigliano. I'm probably killing his name. And we're talking about how to heighten your vibrational alignment and unlocking your peak potential. And he's also got a lot of he gets a lot of ET sightings and contact with extraterrestrials. So we're going to be talking about that too.
Oh,
I have a show for Friday, but they didn't confirm yet. So I don't want to say who, but I will be spreading it all over social media.
well, cool. And you guys know we've got going across the bottom, Ethereal Encounters Unveiled.com or Sassy Townhouse Living. I know you got your secondary business, so check that out. I'm seeing all these bands you guys have seen. Contessa, I've seen both those boys. I have seen Alice Cooper and who was the other one? Rob Zombie. Used to go to Rockfest all the time in the States. But and I know you're mentioning a few bands in Australia. One of the bands I love that I discovered at Rockfest from Australia was actually Sick Puppies. Good
I've
band.
heard of them.
They were good.
I've heard of them. I should check them out. Yeah, I've definitely heard of them.
And that's how I found Hailstorm. Well, before they really became famous, I seen them quite a few times there. Still love that band. But that's another night for another show. You guys, we love you all. We're glad you joined us. We're glad you enjoyed the conversation. If you guys ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Walk. At the moment, you guys know I am still working on my first course with my close friend Leanne Clark, the Crystal Architect, on Facebook and Instagram. Hopefully February or March. It's not just going to be a one-day course. We are looking to build a community since we're talking about finding like-minded people. And this is going to be kind of a foundational course, how to tap into your abilities, your intuitiveness, and many different things. So that's.
I was just thinking about that this morning too. I said,
you
when is her course coming?
It's coming. We get together every Wednesday to work on this. Every Wednesday. So it is coming. Leanne already has an incredible crystal course already ready. Like we've got tons of stuff like that. You guys stay tuned to because Dolly Saffron and Preston Dennett are coming up next with the Light Gate. And if you ever, like I say, want to get a hold of me, once I have the course out, I am going to go to a domain name. I am looking at that. But I do psychic and crystal Reiki, which is working with your chakras and auras. I do energy healing. I do mediumship, Akashic records, whatever you guys need. I just pull it all into one now. I used to separate it. Now it's just whatever spirit says and what you guys need. That's what we work. So don't forget tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night. I am like time is way off. We didn't even get into that tonight. Thursday night, I will be back with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn with Beneath the Hollow Moon. I think we're doing something Victorian ghost stories or something that night. I got to check the book. So 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget, guys, Christmas night. You got ghostly stories. You don't have to come on air, but if you'd like to, you can reach out to us, either one of us, Carrie Lynn or I, on social media or carrieLynn'sporch@gmail.com. And thanks, Carolann, so much for being here this night. Just flew by. Until our next one together.
Yes, I love you dearly.
You too. Love you guys. We'll see you Thursday.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone in the chat. You guys rock.
Always.